Let's paint a simple lakeside scenery practice with acrylics. I'm painting on a postcard-size piece of cardboard, and this is an optional step, but I'm priming the cardboard with white gesso before painting on it. This shields the painting from the acids in the cardboard that slowly deteriorate the painting, and it also makes it easier to paint on since the paints aren't soaking into the cardboard. I'm using whatever acrylic paints I have. The white plus color paint is more opaque and the Crelando paints are more transparent, but mixing them with an opaque paint helps in getting better coverage. Because it's a more simple painting, I can't be bothered to make a sketch first. I'm going straight in with the paint. Starting with the sky. I'm filling about 1/3 from the top with light blue and then going in with more white paint while the sky is still wet and blending in some soft clouds, loosely using a reference photo as a guide. And adding and blending a bit of darker blue underneath the clouds as shading. Acrylics tend to dry fast, so I'm finishing the sky and clouds while they're still wet before moving on to the rest of the painting to get the soft blended look. Just a soft brush stroke for where the line between the trees and the lake will be. I mixed some blue and yellow and a bit of white, and I'm using the bluish green to form the trees with vertical strokes. I'm covering the whole area I left for the trees, so there's no white showing under the cloudy sky. I let the trees dry for now and come back to them later, but let's start on the lake. There's a lighter green line under the trees above the lake. It's probably the reeds growing near the shore. Then I'm making a gradient for the lake with lighter blue in the front and darker blue near the opposite shore where the trees are reflected in the water, making it look darker. And if you're interested in getting full-size reference photos for your art, I've been posting a monthly reference photo pack on my Patreon, and so far there's landscape photos like this, but also buildings, mushrooms and flowers. I'm mixing a mid-tone blue too and muting the lighter blue a bit with black and blending all of them together while the paint is still wet. Now let's go back to the trees and add some more saturated greens and a bit of shape, especially to the tops of the trees. A vertical line and some shorter horizontal lines along the first line to make the top of a spruce tree. And I'm adding some softer shrubs and leafy trees in the front with a lighter, more yellowish green. A bit of shading and bringing back the line of reeds. By now the lake is dry and we can continue with the foreground of the painting. I'm adding ripples to the water with a lighter blue and some wavy lines and dots. I decided to add a group of waterlilies to the front. Round leaves at an angle and with a slit. I'm building them up with a few layers of different shades of green and adding red stems with transparent watery paint to make it look like they're underwater. I'm also covering them up slightly with light blue later. And adding a few white flowers with pointed petals and yellow in the middle. I'm using multiple brushes just so I don't have to clean them all the time as I go back and forth between colors, but acrylics do dry quickly, so don't leave the paint on the brushes for too long or you might not be able to get it out. And I usually have a piece of paper towel where I wipe off the excess paint. I sometimes use these little containers or old cleaned out cosmetics jars to mix the paint in so that if I'm mixing too much paint, I can save it for later. The really airtight ones are the best for keeping paint wet for longer. But if you want more tips for your acrylic paintings, watch how I recreated and improved my own painting in this video. See you then!